and then went to as Me Seva across the state. I think we started our e-governance or e-literacy in 2002, e-literacy, when we realized that for the days to come ahead, the digital divide has to be bridged first if you really want to surge ahead. He was now saying that a demand has to be created from the citizens for the services. That's one side which we are saying way forward. The demand will come when they know that how these services can be taken. With that vision, in 2002, the then government and the present IT minister, Mr. Kunjalikutti was minister at that time. It was his vision to start the HICC centers, which today turned out to be the CSC. That we started in one district called Malappuram, with a population those days around 3.5 million. And we started 600 centers for e-literacy. And a lot of government funds have gone. The entire district was on a Wi-Fi connectivity in 2003. And the 600 centers were connected. And in that district, something like 10 or 12 lakhs people were made illiterate. People from the age of 10 or 12 to 70, 80, 90, all ladies up to, were made illiterate in one district. That model was immediately replicated in 2005, and I was also IT secretary that time. It was replicated to all the 14 districts. And we covered around 3.2 million households were made illiterate. So that was a great thinking, I would say, when this particular gap which we were saving was about to be. Then we started equal to the e-Seva. We started fronts probably at the same time or before that at the urban centers. The same services now are being given at the HICC centers, which are 2,200 across the country and across the state. Each would cover, I would say, around 2,000, maybe around 1,500 households, 1,500 households or so. In a panchayat, there are 2, sometimes 3. We have around 1,000 gram panchayats with an average population of around 25 to 30,000. So 15,000 population it would be covering, so it's around 5,000 households or so. But Kerala being a very dense population, these centers are not very far away from a habitat, from somebody's house, I mean from a citizen's house. It is must be around 2 kilometers or 2.5 kilometers distance at a maximum. So that was the type of thinking, and we entered into that thing. Then the different model that we adopted is not any PPP for this service. This is purely a private entrepreneur. Our HICC center is run by a private entrepreneur, and he actually creates the demand. It is not a government going and say, you take it. It is his livelihood, it is his enterprise. Some of the guys have now gone to get more than ₹1 lakh net income from a center, not by providing the government services alone. He started along with a lot of other private services, a lot of B2C services. Education is one of their biggest money spender. They conduct classes for IGNOU distant courses, and they write pass exam and collect a good fee. Similarly, entrance exam and so many such courses they run, and that is main. So our thinking from that day onwards, these CSCs are not to be driven by government but by private entrepreneurship, which is now 100% successful. We have ample number of them, sufficient number of them running very profitably. And now their profitability is going to increase because the e-district, which the Me Seva services, which we told in the morning, are going to roll down. We did that in 2 districts as a pilot, Government of India pilot districts. These services were provided, mainly like what happened in Andhra, the revenue department certificates, which went in 2 districts. Now we have issued 1.1 million in 2 districts. When we cover all the 14 districts by April, that will go to maybe annually some 40 or 50 lakhs, 4 to 5 million such certificates. Now these are all going to happen, and this is what is going to happen. The way forward is simply not increasing that number alone. The way forward is re-engineering the government process. When all the administration that we do in India is based on the mistrust, lack of belief on the citizen. We created all this administrative system, the backbone which is disbelief or distrust on the citizen. That's the way our culture, that's the way our administrative system and the people's culture also develop. People are also, individual citizens are also not very honest. They would also like to take duplicate benefits, this, that. I mean, I just imagine when we used to go to railways, you know, the less than 12. The children are told that you tell the TT that you are only 10 years old even if they are 14. So that used to happen when we were poor. The people were poor, they had less money. They thought this is a way of cheating somebody to actually have a better livelihood. Today somebody travels in train. Those days he was traveling with his family and children to visit some houses where somebody died or going to a relatives which is very urgent or something. These days most of those travel by people are for tours. They spend thousands of rupees, but still they will try to do this cheating. It has become sort of a culture of, of the society. What I see forward in e-governance is that we get a very clean society. The individuals will start honest behavior, which you see in any so-called developed countries. Honesty is a hallmark of citizens or institutions, corporates, everywhere. There could be exceptions. But in India, we don't see that. Everybody is trying out to do something fishy. Citizens, corporates, institutions, everybody do that. Now, I see in the future of e-governance, especially Aadhaar-linked governmental services, is going to change that character of Indians and then Indian society. We will turn out in another 10 years or 15 years to be a clean, efficient, productive, honest society. And that would be the